I wish you guys the best with your Yum Yum podcast.
Yum, yum.
Hello, Rachel.
Hi, Ryan.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I'm feeling very accomplished.
Oh.
Of course, that's how I feel when we get up to this part of the podcasting experience. We've finished another season of a show, and we're here to look back on it, to discuss it, to analyze it, to really gauge our own opinions and feelings on it, as well as where we go from here.
Yeah, it's always nice to take a pause and reflect, especially as recording this, we're heading into the end of the year.
We've been watching through and discussing Killjoys, a sci-fi channel series that came out over 10 years ago now. I am coming at this experience as someone rewatching the show for the first time, and Rachel, you haven't seen Killjoys before doing this podcast.
Fresh eyes.
First time perspective. And we have gone through the first 2 seasons out of 5. We're getting close, Rachel, to the halfway point of the show.
Don't remind me.
Don't remind you. Wow. How about you remind us all about Yum Yum, the name of the podcast, why we are called that,
Star Trek
and what we do.
Discovery, and because you were like, we should have a podcast. I have a podcast with a friend. We should have a podcast together as a married couple. Let's talk sci-fi TV. We talk a bunch about that already. We're watching Star Trek Discovery. Maybe we could do that because it's trash, but it's interesting in an interesting way.
Oh, yeah. It has a
Interesting
lot.
in an interesting way.
Interesting in a peculiar way.
Peculiar. That's much better phrasing. And then season 2 of Star Trek Discovery happened.
Mm-hmm.
And we got the line, yummy yum. And you never turned back.
It's a line that is so silly that it should be in Killjoys. This Killjoys is a show where Dutch responded meow.
Yeah.
This is the show where if in its second season finale, Dutch said yum yum, we
wouldn't bat an eyelid.
Wouldn't bat an eye, but it's because the use of it was done in a show where that phrase, that turn of phrase, and that character, it was just so out
and
of
the
pocket.
Context
which is
of
for
its
Kings, yeah.
use.
The context of its use is just nonsensical. It is. It's just truly absurd, and so we carry that with us with every show we do. We are Yum Yum Podcast because that line was just truly and utterly something to behold. But
And this season was also something to behold. There was a lot to it, a lot happened, a lot's changed, a lot of the dynamics are still in limbo. But what did you think? What are your general thoughts about season 2 of Killjoys?
it was very different coming back to this season in particular because it does have such dramatic turning points for the story. We're getting more of the background of the universe. Many of the characters drastically change. We lose some key players as well. So I was particularly interested in seeing how this season would develop on the rewatch perspective. So in that way, I still have many things to mull over and discuss with you in regards to that. But as just a piece of television, I thought this was very entertaining. I thought the momentum just kept building, but they always knew when to pause and have good characterful moments. What about yourself? What did you think of season 2?
I found it interesting listening to your description of your general thoughts because it does reflect how this season is full of surprises and shocking moments. And that would be a very different experience on the rewatch, especially because you didn't remember everything.
No, not every single detail. No.
No, so I was very much just on the journey and being shocked by things, but you had some insights at different points in the season. I found that this season went by very quickly. It feels like our coverage only just started, but so much has happened, like in the show and also like in our lives as we've been
Podcasting, yeah.
podding about it as well. So it feels weird to be all of a sudden at the recap because it's just like, oh wait, it's over. Fuck.
It's because not only is there a laser focus on where they need to go with the character stuff, but in comparison to the last season, the mystery of it all is less shrouded. They're giving us more direct answers, and so there's like an immediate sense of satisfaction to this season, and it's all the more engaging and entertaining for it. There's still things that we're wondering, still things that we're questioning, but it's less of a setup phase of a season, and so we're much more in the groove of where this show wants to go.
Here's where we're at, here's where we're going, but it's not filling in the whole picture because they've done that in season 1 to a large extent. It's just like, okay, we're at this step and we're heading towards that. We've got to establish what the next step up is. Next step forward.
I want to say too, as well, while we're just talking about a general overview of this season, something that is easy to overlook once you've gone past it is the improvements in the technicals. It's not drastic. It's not like suddenly this show has a huge budget now and everything looks much nicer. But the voice of the production, it's much more crystalline, because previously they have an abundance of confidence in what they want to do, but maybe weren't able to fully realize it. And although there is still limitations in this show, I feel like this season, in terms of direction, in terms of set design, music, acting, and of course writing,
they work better with what they have.
They work better with what they have, and they're achieving the vision of what they are going for. So, was this a good follow-up to season 1?
It feels like it's evolved a little bit. Like it's like kind of on the back of what you were saying about they've learned how to work with what they have, and they're refining what they've got and what they want to do as well. Like that feels like it's shifted a little bit, but not a lot. Like it feels like very much like they've got a plan and they're willing to adapt it and make it work with what they've got. But they've got something in mind. And it's nice to have that trust in a show. I think season 1 was much more about like establishing things, but it was much more about our trio and their dynamics, whereas now it's them in the context of this larger thing. The stakes have risen, they've expanded. It's not just what's the fate of Team Awesome Force, it's what's the fate of the Quad.
There's more Hullum, more plasma, and Anila is not going to stop unless I stop her.
What I think my favorite thing of this season was that they lured me into a sense of nervousness with how they were handling Klein at the beginning, but then having the trust of the show from that point on, with them realizing and fully getting what he is, because that was such a tricky thing to pull off, and I think they did. And it is one of my main takeaways of the season, was just a lot of the Klein stuff of it all, I kept coming back to as like some of my favorite material, whether it is just small conversations that Dutch would have with Johnny, or even how Klein himself would show off different sides of his personality depending who he was talking to. One of my favorite moments that's a clear example of this was the body swap between him and Davin. Getting to see those actors play the other character and play the other actor's performance of that character was such a thrill, such a delight. It was just so good. And I just really liked when Klein was in Davin's body and he just did not care about the pain sensation because he is beyond that now, but it does matter because it is a body that has the ability to be injured and die.
I want to start out with some smaller moments because I think it's interesting to kind of give contrast to those bigger things that you're talking about. And I want to start with something that I just simply adored that was sprinkled throughout this season. And looking back, it's so important that they took the time to do this work, which is the brotherly moments between Johnny and Davin. Because they're just littered throughout this season. There's a lot of funny, awkward moments. There's a lot of bonding kind of things. And then them reflecting as well. Like, we've got great moments like, well, yeah, you can't be a badass and do your own quips. Had a line that they had that Davin has, and my asshole's bigger than his.
Nice. Yeah. When they were talking about the hacking stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, you get it. You're a smart guy.
And then I have another set of moments that are just for Davin and just for Johnny and just for Dutch.
Oh, yeah.
If you want me to do a rapid fire of those.
I'll just say, in terms of one of my favorite brotherly moments, I really enjoyed when they were on the Collector's asteroid ship, and both Johnny and Davin were very unimpressed with the Collector and how he wasn't interested in any of their cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like the comics or the weapons and all of that. I just really like them just looking at this eccentric
it means
guy.
Something to them, so it should mean something to him because that comic means a lot to them as brothers. So you ready to hear some of my favorite moments from the trio?
Yes.
I'll go first with Davin because it's the one that immediately came to mind, which is when he explodes that Six's eyes. It's just so Killjoys and so Davin in a way that it does stick in your mind because it's a very visceral thing to have happen, even if it is like green instead of red.
It's chunky.
The one for Johnny that came to mind was
Dutch. It was an asteroid ship. That was mine. His obsession with asteroids from season 1 paying off in this way was just so
kind of like
great.
Yeah,
I laughed
like the
so
moment
hard
of
at
mourning for the ship. No, it was a very similar kind of thing. It was when they take Sabine to Turin, and Turin's just like, the weenie Jacoby will love this, and then he's offended, and then he does love it.
Yeah. I like that. He's just such a dork. He's such a mech dork.
Yes, he is. And that was my favorite for that. And I was tossing out between two for Dutch because I couldn't remember if it's her that says one of them or if it's just a scene with her.
Mm-hmm.
which is when somebody calls Del Sayer Del Shitzer.
She's not there for that. That was Davin. That was a Davin line. I have that.
Damn.
In my quotes, Del Shitzer.
Damn. I was just like, that feels so Dutch. But the one that I know is her.
Yes.
Is when she's got the micro leeches. And he's like, baby, he's up your ass.
I know where Jelko is. He's up your ass. I think with Dutch, it's so hard to pin down because she was a lot funnier this season.
Yeah. They leaned
it,
into that aspect of her character quite well.
Her being the exasperated straight person in the team was wonderful. I love just her sigh and roll of the eyes at Johnny with the asteroid ship bit. That was marvelous. I even thought as a comedic bit when Dutch had that nightmare sequence where the version of herself with a knife kills Alvis. I thought the hard cut to her with a very unimpressed face holding this long dagger in her hand was hilarious. I just think that's such a good moment. But for me, one of the top tier Dutch moments, top tier Dutch, and this is how they leaned into letting this actress play the comedy, because it's not necessarily the funny line, it's just the expression, the whole attitude of it, which is when they've brought Sabine onto the ship in a bag, and she has this whole exchange about, like, why is Sabine in a bag? All of that. And then when Davin reveals it's because he fucked her so hard, the goo came out, the look on her face and just her being like, oh, you know what? I gotta stop my complaining. Good job, Jacoby. Like, just so wonderful. Just even she has to be like, okay, look, there's a version.
I gotta step aside for this.
She has that narrative moment where she goes, look, there's a version of the script where I'm jealous of this fact, or I feel wounded because I have a thing for Davin, but even she can't help but be impressed at the fact that he fucked the goo out of her. That's so. Like, that's the type of honesty I want from this show more. Just like, let's drop the pretense, let's drop the bullshit, let's like let the characters be fun in those type of ways, because they sidestepped very often in the season, as they did last season, the pitfalls of like jealousy, and you know, DeWanting was a favorite moment of mine as well. So many pre moments. I love pre having hair.
Any pre moment.
Pre having hair.
The discovery that he was a warlord.
A fashionable dictator, actually, was
is what he prefers.
And a subtle thing, one of my go-to favorite moments of this season, I think it was one of yours. Perhaps you have this later on because we do have the yum yum laugh, but it ties into like one of the great improvements of the show, which is them playing around with technical stuff. Throwing you off with storytelling things. Like, we may not be big lovers of in media res, but they did embrace non-linear storytelling in this season a lot more.
Yeah, they played around with things.
And they did it from the very beginning. The whole preamble of thinking that they're saving Davin only for it to be a dream in Davin's head, but the moment that was just so great of them kissing and the filter of the screen becoming pink and sparks shooting out behind them is what an image I will think of with season 2 always.
Is he humming?
Dreaming. Hero Web kicks up some crazy last fantasies.
But what were some of your least favorite moments of season 2?
Okay, I've got to say it because this is truly one of my least favorite parts of this season. And it is not because it's bad, it's because I don't like it. It upset me. In some ways, like, I understand, it makes sense that it happened, but I still, in my heart, wish that it didn't. And it will continue to hurt. Which is Porter dying.
Oh, wow. Right, I see. I mean...
Like, it's not because it's bad, it's because it hurts.
It's earned, but it hurts.
And I felt like it would be dishonest to say that, to overlook that, because it's a positive thing, but it is one of my least favorite things that happens in this season.
We didn't really discuss it in the episode itself, but something that should be broached when mentioning this was they fridged her. She's dead, so it can motivate Johnny in his emotional journey, in his quest, in his plot. Now, it's very easy and very flippant to say, "Oh, they fridged her," and that's all. I can't speak for you on how you feel about that, but for myself, I can appreciate that there's more impact and more to that choice of killing off her character than just Johnny's man pain. I think it shows the drastic shift in the show itself, that the bad guys can win, that the state of the quad is forever changed politically speaking, and there's just so many more things
There
I
will
can
be
go
losses.
into. Yes, and there are consequences to many things. But what are your feelings in that regard, especially since you have brought this up as a moment that does hurt?
Yeah, it feels like that's a mechanic that they've used, but it's not the purpose. Like, Porter didn't die just so Johnny runs away. Like, that's not why she does it. It's not for Johnny. It's for the show.
One of my least favorite moments in the show was a choice very early on that put a character on a path that I found to be a very rocky one, which is Alvis deciding to commit mass murder.
Yeah, that did happen.
And it really pissed me off because
And then they drown him.
it really did peeve me the way we got to that point, because there is a version where you could have him make this choice and it makes a lot of sense, but it's because he is minorly peer pressured by some random guy that he didn't do good enough as a rebellion leader, yet everything we saw in season 1 showed that he really was, and it was to a point in which I questioned Alvis's own sense of self and conviction, and this season plays with that, but that road is ever so rocky for me. That was one of a choice that I wish that they made differently. It really stood out like a sore thumb, and it made me unsympathetic to his character a lot. Like, I just couldn't help but keep coming back going, yeah, but he was going to commit mass murder.
Yeah.
He was going to commit mass murder, so I'm just detached from him in a weird way. And the other thing, because I actually relatively didn't have many problems with this season that didn't stem from that issue and this other issue I had, which was non-commitment to the love triangle. If you're going to do a love triangle, I don't want it.
No.
But if you're going to do it, commit to it?
Yeah, but it's just there.
Do you mind expounding upon that point, since you and I both felt very strongly about this?
Yeah, I guess I can. Dutch starts sleeping with Alvis again, which puts further tension between Alvis and Davin, but not really any further tension directly between Dutch and Davin, because they are both like, we can't do this, so we're going to do other things, which then creates weird tension between like the shafted partner and the new partner. Like, Dutch feels weird about Sabine, Davin feels weird about Alvis. But there's just a little bit of tension, and it doesn't really go anywhere in particular. There's just some awkward moments, and more so with Davin and Alvis, which is annoying because we had that same tension last season and we didn't like it then either.
For my money, it made Davin the most insufferable he's ever been, and it was only for half an episode, but it was so drastically unpleasant that I have to erase that from my mind, because I enjoyed Davin's character very much this season. I liked how vulnerable he was, and I liked how willing to be a part of the team he was. But then that episode, Shaft, half of the time he is being such a childish, possessive, sexist pig that I basically didn't recognize the character. But here's the thing. They don't commit to this.
No.
It just stops. It's not like there's a resolution.
There's no follow through.
And then, here's the thing. We don't want the love triangle stuff. When we looked through season 1, we praised so heavily that the triangle in that season was about Johnny, Dutch, and Davin working as a team and trusting one another. And, Johnny's reservations about Davin getting with Dutch romantically was much more practical and pragmatic than it was out of a jealous chemistry situation here.
No.
Like, that was so mature.
Other
and
people
a breath
put
of fresh
that
air.
on them, and that was
Yes.
more interesting.
It was way more interesting. But in season 2, they do go for a romantic / sexual love triangle thing. A DeWant. But they never really indulge in it. Like, if you're going to do it, do it.
But it's
What's
also
the lesson
weirdly
learned?
satisfying in a way for them to go, we've got that, but we're too busy for it.
But then it's aggravating
But
because
then when they pick it up and
like
then they
6
put
episodes later, and Alvis is reciprocating now, but then
Yeah.
Davin isn't. So
Uh-huh.
it feels super delayed.
that aspect makes it annoying. It's like, if it's like that's there, we're not dealing with that. That would be something, but it's okay. We're too busy, but now we need it for this kind of aspect in this episode, so we're going to pick it up.
And you can directly contrast this with Potter and Johnny and Dutch, and how that tenuous relationship plays out in the season. That one they follow through on, and not only do they follow through on it, it doesn't feel
And it
like
doesn't
just
have a
cheap-
huge amount of time either.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel just like cheap, easy drama. It gives you so much more of an understanding of all of those characters. Dutch, when she opens up to Johnny about why she hated this and why this hurt her and why this made her feel this way, not only did it give us a deeper insight to her, but it gave Johnny a deeper insight, and it gave them both an appreciation of one another. But
and changed the way that they were thinking about the situation.
But do Alvis and Davin have any more meaningful of a relationship than they did in episode 3, season 1? No. And that's the real tragedy. Like, I would want them, if they're going to butt heads, to eventually have something come out of it.
When we were under Spring Hill, I never did thank you for killing me. I needed that.
Yeah, you did.
Let's talk best episodes of the season. Do you want to do a full ranking, top 3? Do you just want to talk about your favorite?
I always have a tough time with favorite, because how do you differentiate it from best? Because in my mind, there is a difference between an episode that I personally enjoyed the most and one that I considered to be the greatest episode of a given season. There is...
True. You do specify in our notes that it's best.
Yes, but
My
I do always want to highlight the difference. So for me, without a doubt, the best episode, highest quality episode of this season is Johnny Be Good, the penultimate episode, the one where Potter dies. I think it's just such a well-written episode. I think the execution of it is
also my best. Like, I don't feel like it has steep competition. Like, that episode stands out for so many reasons.
As an episode on its own, it's still wonderful, but it's in the grand scheme and context of the season. It is superb because we've had all of the building blocks to this moment. Everything that happens in that episode feels true to the show, even though there's rug pulls and there's twists and turns and there's shocking developments. Every part of that episode is just immaculately put together. They even play around with the structure of the episode, making us loop back around to how we get to the cold open. I think it's an emotionally devastating episode, obviously because of Potter's demise and death, but you don't have that work if you didn't care about her and Johnny and all of them in the first place. And even hate Dulcea already.
It will be one that stays in the forefront of my mind. It has those big moments, but it also is really important for the thematic evolution of the show, particularly around Porter's decision to use people to take down the wall. Because a large part of the conversation within Killjoys is like the individuality of people, their rights, their freedoms, and how people are not afforded those rights, and how some people within it want them to or think that they do, but then like Porter strips that away by using the wall. She's using it for the greater good, but she doesn't feel justified in that. She's like, that it's the best choice that she didn't have.
We say that this is the best episode of the show, but of the season, but there's still so many great episodes here. My favorite episode, one that I kept coming back to, one that we had a lot to say about and a lot to chew on, which was I Love Lucy, the episode where Lucy gets a physical body. They are on the asteroid ship with the Collector. That episode is, I think, the best visually presented one of Killjoys so far. And it's such a shame that the director of it only does that episode of Killjoys. It's such a pleasant to look at episode, and there's a lot of creativity when using the set, using the lighting, and presenting flashbacks or dreamlike imagery that we haven't had in the show before. I thought that episode was just a real standout. It was nice to get like fan service stuff with like Lucy and Johnny kissing, like that was all great. But
the sparks
coming from the finger, Davin refusing to take his shirt off for the fembots, like so many wonderful things. But we were really drawn into Dutch and the Collector, their dynamic, their history, the way that they talked about their lives, the way that they both have so much in common yet are from drastically different walks of life. Like that was an episode where we had a guest character that came in, and within the 45 minutes, we felt so much about that character that if he came back again, we would be thrilled. But if he didn't, we're satisfied anyway.
Yeah, it works both ways, unlike the way that they deal with the setup of Clara. I feel like I don't remember giving a yum this season. There were parts of all of the episodes that I really liked, that I appreciated. So looking back and trying to go, oh, what one was my favorite, or what one, like, what other ones did I like? Because there's like, Johnny Be Good is the best, right? So what's my favorite? And it's really hard for me to delineate, because this season, even more so than the first, it feels like a whole package.
Very much.
And I had that same struggle when I was trying to figure out what was my least favorite, or what was the worst episode of this season. And because it's just like, what? I kept on being like, yeah, that episode was shitty in this way, but it had this thing, and like that didn't really work, but it sets up this thing later on, which is really good and does really matter. So I just kept on going back and forth and being like, I don't know.
I knew immediately which was my least favorite when we watched it, and I was waiting for an episode to be worse than it, and it never came. And is this going to be the curse of this show?
Yeah.
That the second episode of a season is the least favorite, or one of the lesser episodes?
I'm okay with that. If if it's predictable and it's like the premiere is good and the second episode is not so good, but it's still it's not awful.
I think it is.
Like,
I hated Wild Wild Westerly. I think it's my least favorite episode we've seen so far by a country mile.
I don't remember feeling that strongly about it. I think Alvis's stuff really got you rubbed up the wrong way.
And it was just weirdly shot. It was such
ugly
looking episode after a visually stunning episode with the premiere. Like, the premiere was really good in terms of giving us all of these wow moments. And then the second episode is like, here's a shot where they're slightly out of focus for no seemingly good reason. Here's them in a warehouse. Here's this. You laughed so hard at a guy breathing real loud. Like, these are the things that, see? And when that guy came back and he referenced that, you had a big smile on your face. Like, oh, right, yeah, the breathing guy. Carl. I just really detested this episode because it could have been more. Them going back to Old Town, finding devastation. Look, did I love the running gag of the guy who took over Pre's bar getting injured? Yeah, that was amazing. Amazing gag. Ended beautifully with him getting stabbed in the hand. Amazing stuff. But it wasn't...
Porter's response to him overall was amazing. Like, not just that part.
Oh, yeah.
Her whole interaction with him.
Oh, yeah. Like when she kicked out his crutches and broke his leg. Here's something too, in retrospect. And I want to get your opinion on this because we did not talk about this character after this moment ever again. Hills gets executed in this episode. Is that a satisfactory and or good conclusion to that character?
I appreciated the conclusive death because we just kind of assumed that he died in the bombing.
Yes.
And that, his redemption was complete. And it did feel a bit odd to make it more messy by bringing him back. But it felt like, that's just how they get in. It's just like they could have come up with a different way of that.
I think it's worse. I think it's better that he probably just died in the bombing of Old Town because it makes so much more sense for his character, and it gives him. It's more noble. It's more noble of a death. It's still horrible, but it's still a redemptive death. And in this, he's put down like a dog. And for what I don't like about it is, we talked about fridging earlier. This is to show us that the bad guy is bad. That Jelko is a bad guy.
He'll just shoot somebody.
Because he will just execute his own men. Like, he just shot another company man. He's amoral. But the thing of it is, they so quickly move past that for the rest of the season. Like, Potter tries to get the footage in one episode, then is never really referenced again.
Dad, you don't understand. Jelko shot Hillary Union right in front of me, and I can prove it.
Whatever he's doing it under orders from the Nine.
Then I need to talk to Mother.
There are limits to what even your mother can achieve.
We really have in this discussion and throughout pretty much every single time that we talk about Killjoys, we talk about how good the character work is. We also do talk about how it stands out when the character work doesn't go so well. But let's start with the nice. Who was your favorite character this season?
I realized that my favorite characters this season were designed to destroy me by the end of it because I cannot choose between Potter and Klein, who both die by the end of this season. I thought they were just really, 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 really fun, entertaining, thoughtful characters and had amazing arcs.
They're very important, but they're not the most present.
No. But when they are,
It's
they are
impactful.
they very much in the forefront, but also when they're not around, they are always around. They leave a shadow over everything.
Yeah, like Klein isn't on screen for most of like the middle of this show, like of this season. But he's always important. He's always being referenced. You're always wondering what he's up to.
When we talk about this show, some of the most heady, some of the most insightful, some of the most long-lasting things for me keep coming back to his character and keep coming back to his relationship with Dutch and this ongoing dilemma and discussion about having an abusive parental figure in your life and how it's hard to untangle that web for certain people out there. And for Dutch, it's very much that in particular. And even though we did get justifications and motivation and rationale for Klein, it was still bundled up with all of the things that made him a bad father. It was still bundled up with all of the things that made him an uncaring,
He wasn't
cold-blooded
just
killer.
one thing and then the other. He was both things all of the time. Porter was also one of my favorite characters, and I really enjoyed how they developed her character in a way that doesn't forgive or erase the faults that she has that were really established in season 1. Though those cracks in her character are still there. But she sort of puts on a new coat of paint of being a sayer and engaging with that part of her heritage, like her birthright. And it's wonderful to see her with Johnny and how they both bring out the best and the worst parts of each other.
Potter has always been one of my favorite characters. She is messy. That's what I like about her. She is not an easygoing person, but she is played with such a bubbliness to her, such a girly girl energy, and that dichotomy of her being such a ruthless person, someone who's willing to do anything to get what she wants, but also she has that homegrown empathy that you want from your frontier doctor type characters. I love a doctor character in a science fiction environment because they have their own set of moral codes that go against other characters, but so often line up with our heroes. But when push comes to shove,
all of our characters here are westerly made in one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as they say by the end of it, but no one is from Old Town. Yeah, they all have to defend it. But you struck upon something that was really wonderful about her character this season in particular, was seeing her come to terms with having to wear different masks, wear different hats, become different versions of herself. Old Town Potter is different to her being part of the 9. Her and Johnny are different. You know, her being a girlfriend is a different thing. And I just thought the fluidity of the character being able to switch out from all of those different modes was particularly well handled. And so when it came to her conclusion and how she had to stop wearing all of those masks and decide who she really wanted to be, was all the more rewarding. Even though she shortly dies after that, there is a sense of closure on her character arc in terms of like her coming to terms with what she needed to be in the end, even though she did not get to live to fulfill that. There is that you know, that
feels
sense,
like she's done.
Yeah, it feels like you can still walk away from this character with a clear beginning, middle, and end, rather than, oh, what could have been. I just like that Killjoys embraces its cast of characters.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, but like the small characters get their time to shine. Pre got so much.
So good. But then that is a part of what makes it so frustrating when you have these characters that aren't utilized.
Yeah.
And that are neglected or shafted or wasted. Like it's easy for me to pick my least favorite character this season. It's Turin, because he just shows up, is fucking useless, and goes away.
Never addressed how he survived, like what happened between him and Klein, never addressed. And then this season, he just stops being in the show and it's never addressed. It's just like, oh, he's gone now. He's doing other things.
His use is expired. It feels like he only pops up very briefly when convenient.
Yeah,
like
the maddening thing of it is, as a character and as a performance, damn entertaining.
Absolutely.
Fucking love Turin.
That's a part of what pisses me off about it.
But functionality in the story, you could remove him from this season, nothing would change. Nothing would change. He is a dumbass in this season because of how they write him. He's never successful.
So aggravating.
He's never successful.
It's like, this
in
is
this
the guy
season.
at the top of the rack? What?
Why do they need him? He's so perfunctory in this story. And it's because you can tell they like the actor and they like writing for the character, but they didn't know how to fulfill the purpose of him.
No.
While that can be something that they do know how to do, like Fancy Lee, these are characters that clearly in season 1 they found enjoyment in creating as characters and for those actors to portray them.
But those characters have evolved.
Yes, and they serve a clear function in this
Turin
story.
Doesn't get that.
Like, you can tell on paper they thought that they had something, which is they become an ally with him and he gives them resources.
Set up for the
unsanctioned warrants and stuff. But then it doesn't really factor in. Even Dulcea, for example, is like, clearly that's a character that they like writing for and they like that actress. And she serves a very good function in this story. Like, she's the villain of this story. Her and Klein are two antagonists of this story, but Klein...
Mm-hmm. And now they're both off the board.
But Klein, for lack of a better term, is humanized in this season, or at least you understand him more.
And Dulcea is demonized.
And Dulcea, that's it, and Dulcea is demonized. You understand exactly what they're going for here. Turin was my least favorite because I like the character, but I wish that they did anything with him this season. Alvis... I don't like Alvis. Okay, I want to like Alvis.
I want to ignore Alvis, and I often do.
Alvis just confuses me so often.
He just annoys me. Like, also, like the things that they decide to do with him. I'm just stealing this moment to be like, I still fucking hate the fake out dream sequence nightmare with them in bed. I fucking hated it.
I laughed. I think it's funny. I laughed at that.
It did not work for me, but
it worked for me. But Alvis is just. Because he could be so much more. You know what Alvis is, and I'm not saying this like offhandedly. He would be an amazing character in The Expanse. He feels like he should be in The Expanse, like this religious leader who's secretly like a terrorist who's trying to find something. Like, could you imagine how good that character would be in that universe? But in Killjoys...
And even with the same casting.
Yeah, because, that actor, he was in he was in both shows, but, like, exactly, like, even with same casting, but that type of that type of characters seemingly doesn't serve a purpose in this story. Like, I don't want a war, I want a revolution line that we first met him with. Hasn't really come to pass in any way. Like, this story isn't about these type of fringe factions. It's more about, like, even at the end of this, Dutch says that she wants a war. You feel like Alvis would probably contribute to that since he was himself like a resistance leader. But by the end of this season, you don't feel like he's going to factor in that way at all. You feel like he's just going to give you more lore. And that's the thing too, like, Alvis served a function this season, unlike Turin. Like, I may not like his characterization, but Alvis was clearly defined as the guy whose religious dogma will serve as the vehicle of exposition and lore and world building.
You think the sap is the plasma?
I thought this was just religious metaphor, but what if it's true? What if we're all looking for the same thing? It's just hidden in code. I don't think the Scarbacks started cutting themselves as penance. I think they were doing it to prove that they weren't infected with plasma.
We talked about how this season has a lot of dramatic shifts in the story, lots of big shakeups in the narrative and for our characters.
This is a usual part of our rundown, but we've already touched on what it is.
The
right?
biggest surprise.
Like, it is Porter's death, and so much of this episode is going to be us talking about her death in different angles.
What about Klein? You did not see that coming either.
Oh, yeah, but like...
Why isn't Klein's death as shocking of a turn, especially because he has been the motivating factor for the entire show?
Because it is the way to redeem him. Because they were humanizing him from the beginning of this, from the moment that Davin says maybe he's our ally, maybe he's trying to help us. It's the natural evolution for that character. So it is a bit of like, oh, wait, this is happening. But it's very much, this feels like the right response to this character and where he's at, and demonstrating what he's willing to do and how much Dutch means to him. Because his life meant nothing without her, so sacrificing it means everything.
We have already said so much about these shocking moments being ones of character deaths. But there are also revelations. There are also things about this world and the people that inhabit it that are interesting to think about. Like, we get the backstory of the green plasma, that it's this alien parasitic thing called Hullen, and that it wants to assimilate everyone and everything. And we get the background of the Nine and the company and why they've been so tyrannical and so cold-hearted and just draining everyone of the resources because to satisfy the Hullen. Like, all of that, very interesting, very interesting. But I think one of the big turn of the story here is we are introduced to a new villain at the very end. And I want to get more of your thoughts on that.
Anila is established earlier on, and her being a danger, but she's upgraded to the villain because Klein and Dulcea both are dead now, by all appearances.
And they were working to stop Anila. That's
so
also
now Dutch is going to war against Anila, who looks exactly like her. I, watching it for the first time, got the feeling that there was some other level to the Klein-Dutch father-daughter relationship, that there was going to be something else to it. There was going to be a reason, a bigger justification for why Klein attached himself to this particular child. And it looking exactly like his own daughter makes complete sense for that type of justification. It is also very in line with the kind of show that Killjoys is, to have a major villain be played by one of our main actresses.
Yeah.
That just, it feels like, yeah, that belongs in a Killjoys type show, to have that duality. Mirror.
The monster within her is a literal person that's out there type deal, yeah.
Yep.
I liked how they sprinkled little things in the season and haven't given you a clear answer. There was a lot of duality about Dutch, talking about like the monster within herself, or all of these versions of herself that could have been, that were taken away because of Klein or her own life choices, but also the spooky sequences, like Dutch looking in the mirror and the reflection in the mirror doesn't move, or the version of herself in the tunnels when she was hallucinating and she had like that inner version of herself, chew her out. Like, there's been a lot
Which
of...
is a part of, like, why I'm wondering what the connection between the two of them is.
But this show has so much going on, Rachel, and they have they have a love of dialogue. We always love how funny this show is. We always keep track of what makes us laugh, but also we keep track of a certain turn of phrase, a certain word that they like to use in Killjoys, which is...
Bitch, why are you being coy?
Bitch, are you for real? They love to use bitch so often. And I have a tally here. I have counted up how many uses of the word bitch or bitches has been dropped in season 2.
Only one not shot for the season.
Only one person got kicked in the genitals. Tragic, really. But Rachel, before I reveal the bitches of this season, and again, to clarify, I'm only counting bitch or bitches. I'm not counting bitching.
You're asking for my guess, right?
How many do you think was used in this season, and who do you think had the most?
I am going to guess Dutch as having the most bitches. My instinct is to say Pre, but I'm going to go with Dutch.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy for it to be Pre. And in terms of the number, I think there was 16.
Okay. 16. Now, I'm going to allow you to think with this. Last season, the person had the most was Johnny. And last season, it was 21 bitches. Now, with that in mind, do you think there was more or less or the same amount of bitches this season? I'm not going to let you change who the people are. I just wanted to put that into your mind.
I now... See, I was just like, I felt like there were a number of episodes where we only got one bit.
Let's not forget there was one episode where we didn't get one at all.
Yes.
Which did not happen in season 1.
No. That's been the sole episode with no bitch or bitches. And then...
Shaft.
We got 2 or 3 in the last one.
In the last episode, we got half a dozen.
Oh, yeah. We got even more than that.
We got more than usual. Yes. So... I'm going to tell you.
I lowballed it.
You lowballed it. This is way more than last season. 27 bitches were dropped. Now...
Okay, are we going to go up each season? Do I need to make a note to say 30 next
I
season?
truly don't know. Because this was not something I remembered about the show, but I've noticed immediately this time. And I'm going to give you another shock here. Dutch, not even close to the top. Pre, not even close to the top of the bitch
Is it Johnny again?
Interesting that you brought that up.
Is it Dulcea?
One of my favorite things about going through the bitches was I went through it in episode order.
Yeah.
So I got to see in real time of me adding them up who was like winning at different points of the race. Like, oh, this character's really shooting up, or this one's not saying any at all. And then suddenly all of the bitches are dropping from their mouth.
I wish one of us had the animation skills to do like
the graph.
Yeah, not just the graph, but like in Spotify Wrapped this year, you had like the like which artist, and it went by month, and it had the little animation of them shooting through like space, and I would love that.
Now,
this.
Now I'm going to reveal it. The person who had the most bitches. I'm going to reveal it now. The person who had the most bitches was a surprise to me. It's Davin. Davin had 7 bitches drop in this season.
I'm proud of him.
And here's the crazy thing. How many did he have in season 1? How many? No, in your opinion, how many in season 1?
Not many.
1. 1, which was the ear-chopping son of a bitch. This season, he was given all of the bitches. Johnny was 5. Davin, 7. Incredible stuff. Okay. I was surprised. I was truly taken aback. I'm like, Davin? And, even with that knowledge, when I think back to the season, I still feel like other people said it more, but he did. He kept saying it. Davin just kept saying bitch all season long. And who do you think will be the one to take the torch next season? Do you think it will go beyond the Jacoby brothers? I know this is
Will it be a fresh character again?
I hope it's Fancy. I hope it's... I want to give Fancy some award. I don't think he even said a bitch this season. I think he did last season. I have to double check, but that's my prediction. Do you think it'll be any pre-existing character, or do you think it'll be someone new that we haven't met yet?
I would love somehow for this Alice.
Oh, the gun? The gun arm? Yeah.
The gun arm gets a voice. It just says bitch.
You're already giggling, so that means you're already having a good laugh. And we had a lot of laughs.
Yeah,
in
there was
season
a lot
2.
Of fun this season, and it was kind of hard to go back and think of what's the yum laugh of this season, because so many of them felt really contextual. So when I was like looking over my notes, I was just like, that's not that funny. And then like talking through things, like how much I laughed at Carl.
Carl, the loser company man?
Yeah, like how much I laughed at his appearance and how ridiculous that felt. Like that now brings me joy remembering it. But having a note saying breathing noises didn't really like activate things in my brain.
No. I have a silly minor one that I had a great chuckle at, which was when Dutch was in the suitcase for no real reason, like the weapons case, and that she wore a wig for no real reason.
Oh,
that's like a nonsensical
another one that I want to.
Oh, her doing the spin in the last action scene with Klein for no reason. That was another good chuckle.
The music that's in her fight, because she's wearing like an afro wig when she's against the black root. That's like
that was so bizarre.
We forgot to mention that in the first moments, but it's also so fucking weird.
The disco music, the funky disco music, because their woman of color lead had an afro haircut. There's no other reason for it. Yeah. It's not like the scene was in a club or anything. Yeah. So stupid. One I have. My true laugh at the show, and I'm going to tut at you right now that you didn't pick it, because it was your loudest, most hearty laugh of the show entirely. I'm going to say the line, okay? Do you know what it is? Do you have a guess? Do you actually know? Do you actually know, or are you just saying... It's Alphys, of course, saying he's broken about that creepy Olin kid.
You want to talk to Olin? Small problem. He's broken.
What was your genuine yum laugh of the season?
I'm going to go with the thing that immediately leapt to mind, and I think it's because you mentioned it earlier. But it's saying, I prefer stylish dictator.
This season must have been damn excellent if you've talked about Pre so little in this recap. Because when we started the season, like when we ended last one and started this one, it was all Pre.
Yeah.
Like Pre's this, Pre's that. And we got so much of his character in this season. We got so much understanding of him. We got so much... Not only of, like, who he was previously, but, like, how he continues to go on now in a broken old town.
How he shows up for the people he cares about.
My yum laugh was from Jelko. We haven't talked too much about him, but he was an interesting antagonist. Like, Jelko was not perhaps the most brilliant character, but he did offer a voice of sadism and masochism to the villain side of the story. He's a guy that loves inflicting pain, but he's also clearly he wants to be stepped on.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite thing was him paired up with... My favorite thing was him paired up with Davin in the end of the show. And Davin pointing a gun at him and him being like, ugh. But when Dutch points a gun at him or Potter points a gun at him, he's turned on. But my favorite moment was when he had to punch in the codes and he like hides. He covers it up. There's no point to.
Nah.
I think that's just one of those little
Just to
touches
be
that
a
makes
dick.
it so... And like him bitching about how they're stealing his nest egg.
Yep.
Oh, please, that's all of
Him
my
being
money.
a prissy little bitch.
I'm a prissy little bitch. Please, please. I think that's so just... Mwah. It made me laugh a lot. Just him blocking the code of the rocket launcher they're going to use. There's no reason.
No.
But he does it anyway because he's just that petty. That and when he was a hologram and he was in the middle of his own desk... That episode in particular, he had
But
a
it would have
lot
been
of
so much
funny...
better if it was pre-recorded.
If it was pre-recorded and he was like, I knew it would be you. That episode had a lot of like interesting details of just what a bureaucratic little worm he was. Like when he threatened one of his own guys, he didn't threaten him with just like normal thing. He goes, I could give you such a severe demotion. It's like, that's the way he threatens to kill you. His euphemism for killing you is a demotion. He was just such a surprisingly entertaining character. Perhaps not like the best villain you've ever seen, but he was efficient at what they needed him to be, which was just evil British man.
Yep. He did the job.
That's what he needed to do. Rachel, I'm waiting on bated breath. What are your predictions for the future of this show? We're left with a lot of loose threads. We're left with a lot of setups, and there are still some things that have not been answered. But what do you think will be happening in season 3?
The tail end of this is similar and yet very different than season 1. Because we have a Jacoby brother that is split off from the rest of the team. And last season I predicted that it would take a while for them to all come back together. And it was done in under an episode. So I think that they're going to take a little bit longer with Johnny. I think that
He chose to leave. That's the difference, too.
I think next season is going to expand like their war against Anilan. I think they might leave the quad. Just maybe.
Klein and Fancy left the quad this season.
And now Johnny has Klein's ship. I don't know where Fancy's going to figure into things, if they're going to leave him on the sidelines again.
He can replace Johnny for the time being. He's a tech guy.
And we did have a lot of like rotating crew this season of like expanding the crew of Lucy. I do wonder what the fallout is going to be from Porter and Dulcea's deaths. And if Dulcea is actually going to be like dead.
We just saw her bleeding out. Didn't see a full dead body on screen, so who knows?
She was just laughing at her own message.
I want to ask you this too. Anila, what do you think her character is going to be like? Because we haven't what we have seen is we see her. We haven't really been given
I
like
think she
a
is
personality.
Gonna be a cartoonish villain.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What gives you that impression?
The way that they've introduced her in terms of like the physicality the actress is doing for her, the goblet of goo and
big evil princess
being
vibe.
like, she's fucking insane.
Yeah, she's quite that's what Klein says.
She's quite mad.
She's quite insane. That's what Klein says, and you could always trust him with everything, right? I look forward to the next season. One of the things that I'm curious about too is we know that Johnny has left, but they don't know Johnny has left. Only Lucy does.
Mm-hmm. I love that moment.
So there is a difference too of like last season, it was we're going to take the fight to them because they took Davin. But this season is we're going to take the fight to them because we aren't going to sit back and let them come to us, which is a very different motivation for Dutch.
Yes.
It's not just, oh no, Johnny's gone, now we're going to fight Anila. I like that. I like that it's very similar endings, but very differently done as well. So that's kind of cool. But any other little things? Any other bits and pieces? Anything you're wanting from season 3 or the future of this show? Maybe not so much like you think this is going to happen per se, but you're like, I want that.
I do wonder if they're going to do any warrants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do wonder.
Perhaps. Do you have any further pre-predictions? Because you love pre and you always want more from pre.
I do. I still think that the Royal is going to be their base of operations.
As it should be.
I don't think he's going to leave. And I do think that they're going to continue to explore the impact of what the company has done to Old Town.
That is our discussion on season 2 of Killjoys.
It's a yum yum.
Yum yum.
But here's my big wag of the finger. No shirtless Johnny this season.
No,
they robbed us of hairy chests.
They reduced Davin's shirtless
Oh, I
time.
disagree. I
I
disagree. Did you remember that scene that went for 10 minutes of him fucking Sabine? Oh, yeah, that too. Or him fucking Sabine so hard goo came out of her?
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying
It was a hornier season.
that there is no shirtless Davin, but it felt like the frequency in which he was shirtless was more in season 1, but the length of shirtless time was more in season 2.
Ooh, let me just.
That's just my opinion.
Is this a different? Here's the thing. Is this a difference?
Nothing really.
Here's a difference, and maybe this does color things. The show comments on how often they take his shirt off in season 2. So it does lessen it because the show is making a point that it knows as well. While in season 1, we, the audience, knew, but the show itself wasn't making a point of it. Like, it just was doing it.
Yeah.
Like, it was sexualizing its cast and objectifying them in a playful way that we enjoyed, but it was in a way where it's like, it's for us. But then in season 2, every time they did it, especially with Davin, it would make a point of like, hey, we know that we're doing this, and so do you. Like, it's a little wink, a little wink. I wonder if that does change the shape of the sexual nature.
I think it does.
I know that this is a big deal. Season 3's premiere episode is called Boondoggy. So, we'll be back next time to talk about Boondoggy. Season 3, Episode 1. What could be happening? Where does the title come from? Boondoggy. We'll have to wait and see. Is this another Skrillex song? Like Bangarang? I'm not too sure. I don't know, but Boondoggy is what we'll be talking about next time and watching. So thank you all so much for joining us on our experience with this series. We are looking forward to getting more into the show, seeing more of these characters, more of the universe. Rachel is, what's so funny? Why are you laughing at Boondoggy? Why is that a funny title? Is it because it got doggy in it? Is that it?
You know what you're doing.
What am I doing? I'm just saying the title. The episode is called Boondoggy.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please consider sharing, rating, reviewing the podcast if you do enjoy it. We really do appreciate those little moments that people take to let us know and let others know that they're enjoying the content that we are making.
You can talk to us on all of those social medias, as well as our email address, yumyumpod@gmail.com, or yumyumpodcast on all of those social medias, as well as podcasting sites. Rate and review. We have our Patreon. You can support us on there, get content early, as well as our full unedited reactions to things that we are watching, which is Killjoys, of course. But that is it. Season 2 is in the bag, as they say. We have done it all. But the one thing that Season 2 did offer us that Rachel, I think, actually meant to say is the worst thing. This is your time, Rachel, to give a rant, because I don't think we've really talked about it on the pod. Intro credits.
You know, I dislike it. I dislike the opening credits to this season. I hope that they change. I don't know if they will. But I just don't like that style. I don't feel like it is a appropriate representation of the show. It feels like more of a reflection of what design style was in when the show was made.
Do you like the music, though?
No.
You don't like the music where it's just do 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 woo hoo woo hoo?
No.
So the season 3 one, they'll hopefully they do a new art style, and the lyrics are just no, and it's just the characters wiggling their fingers.
Goodbye, everybody. I don't know if I'm going to be back after that one.
Oh, spoilers! That's the season 3 opener. Spoiler.
Fuck off.